Let's be honest, for the longest time, presentation software has just been about, static slides. But that whole game is changing, like right now. Imagine if your tool didn't just show your ideas, but actually helped you build an entire world around them. That's what we're going to dig into. We're going to see how Google Vids is way more than a slide tool now. It's basically a full-blown AI-powered design studio. It's turning creators like you into narrative architects. So let's get building.
All right, here's our blueprint for today. We're going to go beyond the basic presentation, then we'll dive into the AI storyboard, which is where the magic starts. After that, we'll get our hands dirty crafting a visual world, giving it a voice, and then we'll wrap it all up with a master workflow that pulls everything together seamlessly.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty, just think about this question for a second. For so long, we've had to squish our biggest, most complex ideas into these flat little boxes, right? Bullet points, linear slides. It just flattens everything. This is about finally breaking out of that box. It's about taking any concept, a product you're launching, a piece of history, even a fictional universe, and giving it a real place to live and breathe. A world that can actually tell its own story.
Okay, so where does a world like that even begin? Well, it all starts right here, with the AI storyboard. See, the real power of Vids isn't just the fancy stuff at the end. It's this uncanny ability to take your raw, messy, unstructured ideas and, almost instantly, translate them into a story that actually makes sense. This is literally where your idea starts to take shape.
So here's a little peek under the hood at how it works. You can just link Vids to a document in your Google Drive. Let's say it's a super dense 50-page PDF. It then uses Gemini, Google's AI, to do this deep dive analysis. And it's not just looking for keywords. No, it's figuring out the core themes, who the main characters are, and even the aesthetic you're going for. And from all that, it spits out a complete scene-by-scene outline for your video.
And this is where it gets really cool. This is a perfect example. Just imagine you're a writer, and you upload the manual for this huge sci-fi world you've created. Instead of staring at a scary blank page, Vids reads your document and comes back with this. It suggests the perfect opening shot, a panorama of a megacity. But look closer. It even gets the vibe. It knows it should be neon/dark. It's like it read your mind and understood the heart of your world from the get-go.
But of course, the AI is your assistant, not your boss. You get this whole storyboard draft, but you're still in complete control. You can drag and drop scenes, throw out what you don't like, and most importantly, you get to set the mood. You can literally tell it if you want the whole thing to feel energetic, professional, or calm. And that one choice isn't just a label. It completely changes the suggested music, the speed of the transitions, the whole feel of the story.
Okay, so we've got the skeleton of our story. Now for the really fun part, bringing it to life visually. This is where we start to paint the picture, using on-demand video generation and super precise text controls to give our world a look and feel that's totally unique. We've all been there, right? Endlessly scrolling through stock footage sites trying to find a clip that kinda, sorta, maybe fits what's in our head? Well, that whole era is over. Vids has Google's video AI, Veo, built right in. So if your story needs something crazy specific, like a floating forest with waterfalls of liquid light, you don't go looking for it, you just type that description and bam, Vids creates that exact custom HD video clip for you. It's wild. Now, for a world to feel real, it has to be consistent, and you get total control over that. Using a style reference, you can upload a single image, like a photo of some brutalist architecture, and tell the AI, make everything look like this. You can also make your text come alive with dynamic overlays, timing it to pop up right on a beat in the music. And of course, you can lock in your own custom fonts to make sure your world always feels on brand and totally yours. All right, our world has a blueprint and a unique look, but right now, it's a little quiet. So it's time to populate it. Let's talk about how you can use AI avatars to be your expert narrators, or even full-on characters that live inside your story. This happens through a feature they call talking heads, and it's pretty amazing. You pick an avatar, give it your script, and it narrates it for you. But it's not just a robot reading words. The AI actually analyzes the script for emotional tone. It gets the difference between something exciting versus something serious, and it brings the narrator to life with these tiny, realistic facial expressions that actually match the feeling of what's being said. And the creative possibilities this unlocks are just huge. You could write a whole debate between two historical figures about a complex topic and have two AI avatars act it out. Or, get this, you could write an interview with a character from that sci-fi world you invented, paste in the script, and literally watch them tell you their own story.
It's the ultimate way to show don't tell, and it's never been this easy before.
So, we've seen all these incredible tools. The big question is, how do they all fit together in a real project? Let's walk through the master workflow, the exact process you can use to go from a messy pile of research to a polished final video, way faster than you'd think.
The easiest way to think about it is in 3 stages: the brain, the skeleton, and the skin. First up is the brain. That's Notebook LM. You dump all your research, all your source files in there, and use it as an AI assistant to hammer out the final script. Next is the skeleton. You take that script, pop it into Vids, link your sources, and let the AI build that course structure. And finally, the skin. This is where you come in, refining everything, adding your custom visuals, and perfecting the story.
Let's make this super concrete. Think about a project like this, a detailed visual explainer on what Mars's geography might look like in the future. I mean, a video this polished would normally take a whole team weeks to produce. With this workflow, you could knock it out in a single afternoon. That's a game changer. For a teacher, that's a whole immersive lesson plan created overnight.
So here's the play-by-play for that Mars project. You start in Notebook LM, feeding it research on Martian geology to create a script, maybe a dialogue between 2 scientists. That script becomes your voiceover track in Vids. Then you tell Veo to create some incredible visuals, like geodesic domes on the Martian surface. And to finish it off, you apply that custom, futuristic typography, maybe with a slight reddish tint. You see how every single step just flows right into the next? It's seamless.
So let's just take a breath. We've gone all the way from a simple idea to a fully fleshed out world, one that has its own look, its own feel, and its own voice. We've seen how this totally integrated system can pretty much turn anyone with an idea into a master world builder. It really does open up a whole universe of possibilities.
So if there's one thing you take away from all this, it's this. The huge gap that used to exist between having a grand vision and actually creating a finished product, well, that gap has pretty much collapsed. What used to take entire teams, tons of expensive software, and weeks of work can now be done by one person. It's a massive shift that puts the power of high-end production in everyone's hands.
And really, that brings us to the only question that matters now. We've gone through the blueprint. We've seen the power of these tools. You literally have everything you need to be a narrative architect. So the only thing left to ask is, what world are you going to build first?